So after spending that lovely night in Newark Bay at the Point of Ayre, we were back on the road heading for our first archaeological site at the Bronco. And it was all going swimmingly until... No, not a diversion this time. More traffic lights.
It's not just you guys, Carol and Ken.
But everywhere you go, there's bloody roadworks.
Diversions that take you miles from... Which is fine if you're local, isn't it? They'll say closed at such and such a road. Well, we don't know what such and such a road is.
After what seemed like an eternity, we were back on the road. I wonder if the Romans had been here, because boy, this road was straight. The approach to the Bronco is down some pretty tight roads, single track. There are a few passing places, but keep your wits about you, especially if you're in a larger vehicle. There's a lovely beach here again, and it probably would have made a great place to spend the night, but we spent most of our overnight stops at beaches and we wanted to look somewhere a little later, probably a bit more inland. Hoping we haven't broken any laws, but last time we were here we collected some sand from this beach. The Bronco is an Iron Age Brock village, and it's situated on the northeast coast of mainland Orkney, overlooking Hallow Sound. Unlike the Brocks that we visited on Shetland, particularly the one in Lerwick, this one isn't free, I'm afraid. It's £6 for concession, so if you're over 65, and £7.50 for adults. But to be honest, it's well worth that money. You can spend quite a lot of time just wandering around the ruins. There was once quite a large community here, and settlement began sometime between 500 and 200 BC. At the centre of the settlement is a stone tower, or what's known as the Brock, which probably reached a height of around 10 metres. Inside it's divided into sections by upright slabs, and the tower features 2 skins of dry stone walls, with stone floor galleries in between them, and these are accessed by steps. Stone ledges suggest that there was once an upper storey with a timber floor, and the roof would have been thatched, surrounded by a wall, linked by stairs to the ground floor. And here you can see the remains of one of 2 hearths. Considering its position on this headland, it must have been well cosy in there with 2 hearths going and all those people. And what a truly amazing sight this was. Couldn't get over just how blue or turquoisey that sea was. All we needed was for a pod of killer whales to just swim up the sound. But we weren't going to be that lucky. Remember I mentioned earlier about how straight this road was and if the Romans had been here? It turns out they were, because pieces of Roman pottery dating back to before 60 AD were also found at the Bronco. As we continued to explore, I was fascinated by the stonework, just how clever it was, just how smooth and how the layers all interlock each other. Engineering of this age just fascinates me. And wandering through the village we came across the second hearth that was mentioned in one of the outer buildings. Given the rare to us decent weather, we continued to wander around the village for quite some time. Like I said, it's a really fascinating place and there's plenty to look at. By this point it was getting late, and if we were going to find somewhere to stay inland, we really needed to get back on the road. Like we said, we wanted to go inland rather than staying on the coast. So we thought we'd take this little B road here up to this picnic area, have a look and see if it was going to be suitable. And it was quite a climb. Arriving at the spot, the views were certainly breathtaking. You could see right over the coast. But unfortunately it was very exposed, and as you can see by these turbines, it was extremely windy. Wasn't going to be right. We continued further west, thinking if we got a little bit lower down we might find a little bit more shelter. Proving to be an easy task finding something inland, because it's all just farms. Eventually, as the sun was beginning to set, we found this amazingly beautiful spot for the night.
So this is tonight's parkup. I'm going to have to look it up. We were going to stay on the top of those moors, but it was very exposed and it was next to a main road. So I got the map out and I spotted this little picnic area by this. It's a nature reserve, I think, and it's a stunning evening. Beautiful. Still cold. The sun's going down behind on this little lock. Beautiful.
So looking it up, it's at a panoramic viewpoint just to the east of the standing stones of Stannis and the ring of Bronco, and it's on the shores of Loch Harry.
It's the first real wild inland bit that we've seen. We spent most of our time on the coast.
So apparently you're supposed to be able to see the standing stones of Stannis from this site, so we set off to go and see if we could. Can you see them yet, Bernie?
Hello, sunshine. How are you? Hey, how's Blue doing?
After a very peaceful night, we woke to another fine day. It was still windy, but it was dry, and it was relatively warm. And we set off to go and drive to the standing stones of Bronco. No, not the standing stones of Bronco, the standing stones of Stannis. And it was a pretty short hop. standing stones of Stannis are the remains of one of the oldest stone circles in the country, and they were raised about 5,000 years ago. And we are indeed very fortunate to be able to still see them, because in 1814 a tenant farmer who was fed up of ploughing around these blessed stones decided he was going to fell them so it would make his job a lot easier. He successfully managed to topple 2 of them, but he was an incomer, and what he was doing wasn't going down well with the locals. They were so enraged that they had several attempts at actually burning down his house. Moving on from the stones of Stannis, we followed the spit of land that divides Harray Lock from Stannis Lock and on towards the Ring of Bronco. We were to meet these 2 cyclists later, who very kindly took our photograph. It's not easy to get a photograph of both of us, so when anybody offers, I'm quick to jump in there. And then we get our first glimpse of this really impressive stone circle. It's huge. Back to the practicalities. There's a large car park here, and once again we're back to it being free. So it was free to park and it's free to walk around the stones. And looking at these motorhomes here, I'm guessing we probably could have spent the night here too. Might have been a bit spooky though. Bear in mind it's quite a walk from the car park up to the stones, but if you're disabled, I believe there are a couple of disabled spots right outside. So we've come to the Ring of Bronco. We were here in, was it 2017?
2017?
Yeah, and then when we came there was a load of orange fencing up, so it spoiled the photographs, but at least you could get up to the stones. Unfortunately they're resting the turf and you can't get any closer than this. And I understand they've got to preserve it. Too many visitors and it'll be gone. But it's still a shame. It takes away some of the atmosphere of the place, you know, you can't get up close and personal with them. See the shadows. Just less atmospheric. Maybe the bright sunshine. I never thought I'd hear myself complain about bright sunshine, but maybe the bright sunshine is actually spoiling the atmosphere. If it had been a dreak day like we've had for the rest of the holiday, maybe that would have been better here. Never happy, am I? Once again our Blue was in his happy place. If it's not a beach, it's a good plot of grass. that lemon cake that I made on the other evening when we were up at the Point of Ayre?
So it's just
Like a
a
nice sponge.
I had another van for company parked next to us, and I offered them a piece of the cake, and they very kindly brought us some after-eight mints. So thank you to the weavers, they were a real treat. We hope you've enjoyed coming along with us and checking out some of the archaeological sites on Orkney. And if you have enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe because it helps our channel to grow.